Okay, so Wonder Man's one of those series that I didn't really think Marvel was capable of making. After lots of mediocre entries on Disney Plus, it kind of seemed like they were just content making content. However, having watched through Wonder Man, it's clear they can take big swings and hit a home run. In the past, a lot of the time it's felt like they've just done 4-hour-long movies and then cut them up in order to create episodes. This has led to some really weird pacing and some shows that just kind of drag the story out like a little bit of butter scraped over too much bread. Is that the saying? I don't know, but at this point I think that audiences have kind of got used to the idea that a Marvel show on Disney Plus probably won't be worth their time, and there's been a big decline in viewership. At first, it was pushed so you had to watch the shows to understand the films, and we had major projects like WandaVision and all those early series that got lots and lots of viewers. However, when people didn't necessarily flock to the later releases, Feige out and out admitted that you didn't have to see them. So it kind of led to Disney Plus being in this weird place where it's content for hardcore fans, but not many other people. And even then, it's not exactly prestige television.
Prestige. Worldwide. Why?
However, I'm happy to say that Wonder Man does some incredible things, and it perfectly blends meta commentary, Hollywood satire, and character-driven storytelling. Nowhere do I feel like this is exemplified more than in its mid-season entry, which is titled Doorman. This stands out as a masterful, self-contained gem that not only introduces an obscure comic book character, but also enriches the overarching narrative. Coloured with a clear nod to a classic film noir, it's a story about the pitfalls of fame. Now, the episode chronicles the tragic arc of DeMar Davis. He's a nightclub doorman who accidentally acquires portal powers, and this makes him become a superstar. However, he finds that fame is fleeting and unwittingly reshapes Hollywood's rules for superpowered people. What makes Doorman perfect is its seamless fusion of humor, horror, heartbreak, and social critiques while adapting a deep-cut Marvel Comics figure into a cautionary tale. By focusing on a peripheral character whose story reverberates throughout the main plot, the episode exemplifies innovative storytelling within storytelling. Throughout this video, I want to go through the episode and discuss why it works so well and why I think this episode's a standout in terms of what Marvel's done in the past. We are going to get into it just in a bit after a quick word from our sponsors, the Potato Bag. No, just kidding, it's Squarespace. Squarespace is the perfect way to make your presence known on the web, and their new design intelligence helps you easily build beautiful and personalized websites to fit any single niche. Design Intelligence combines 2 decades of industry-leading design expertise to unlock your strongest creative potential. Due to their professionally designed website template, you can get an incredible-looking site online in less than an hour. Beyond that, if you want to sell online, Squarespace also allows you to build a store that stands out. Showcase your products and customize your product listings with images, videos, reviews, related products, and add-ons that help you make more sales. Beyond that, Squarespace also allows you to focus on growing your business by allowing you to automate your invoices. Now you can easily invoice clients and get paid for proposals. Squarespace lets you turn leads into clients with proposals, estimates, and contracts, and basically simplify your workflow. The Squarespace commerce platform makes managing everything from inventory to sales and customers simple. Print shipping labels directly through Squarespace and save time when you're fulfilling orders. Making a beautiful website is really easy, and they also have a great deal on right now for viewers of this channel. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial when you're ready to launch, and go to squarespace.com/heavyspoilers and use the code HEAVYSPOILERS to save 10% off your first purchase on a website or domain. Just go to squarespace.com/heavyspoilers and use the code HEAVYSPOILERS to save that 10%. Thank you. Okay, so Doorman centers around a doorman at the Wilcox nightclub in LA. Completely content with where he is, DeMar Davis seems to genuinely love his life. People seem to love him too, and whether it's a pair of women from Texas, yeehaw, or famous actor Josh Gad, everyone seems to enjoy being around him. After a long shift, the club owner then talks to him in the bar and kinda taps into his lack of ambition. To him though, he's satisfied with a simple life and isn't interested in the glitz and glamour. She then asks him to take out the trash and basically get rid of the old DeMar and replace him with something else. Coming across a Roxxon Corporation dumpster, we see that it's leaking ominous black liquid. One thing I also love about the episode is that it kind of also subtly shows the dangers of Roxxon. The corporation's been pretty quiet in the MCU, with us just seeing like signs appearing in certain films. However, this lets fans know they're a nefarious bunch who are clearly experimenting with things that they shouldn't be. DeMar then does the classic astronaut in an alien movie move and decides to touch this weird thing on the ground. Very wise that. But no, I kind of view this as a curiosity killed the cat thing, because ultimately this black hole of the abyss sends his life into a black hole of a bit. Well, you get it. Taken to a vast void filled with glowing doors, Damar is then given the Door of Opportunity. Here he's granted new abilities and he awakens on his kitchen floor and soon discovers that his body can act as a doorway that allows things to pass through him. We get a great sort of scene that blends body horror with slapstick as he has to rescue his dog from his neighbor, and it kind of sets the tone for Damar's reluctant heroism and how he's always kind of doing things for others. The plot then escalates the following night when a fire erupts at Wilcox, which traps everyone inside with Gad. Jay Gad, your boy Jay Gad. Amid the panic, Damar then passes through the blocked door and urges everyone to walk through him. Olaf leads the way, and though it saves everyone inside, it also exposes his abilities. However, this act has saved countless lives, and it turns him into a celebrity overnight. Gad then presents him with an opportunity where Damar can come and work with his team. However, when he hits a writing block with his film Cash Grab, he comes up with an idea to use Damar's abilities. Damar's really hesitant at first though, because the guy can't really act, but to be fair, neither can most of Hollywood. However, curiosity kills the cat once more, and he decides to do it, which ultimately leads to his downfall. Starring in the film, he plays a pivotal role in how the character's escape is safe. Showing up in his comic book accurate costume, his catchphrase Ding Dong becomes a viral sensation, and soon everyone's saying, "Ding Dong, motherfucker!" Damar finds himself rubbing shoulders with the A-listers, and he's even classed as being one of the greats of all time, like your boy Trevor Slattery probably. However, fame proves corrosive. As Damar's ego inflates, he falls victim to overexposure. The episode's midpoint sees his popularity waning, and he's simply reduced to being a punchline on talk shows. The work just isn't there, and thus Damar begins to hit the bottle. I think it's something that we've seen time and time again in Hollywood, and people are constantly trying to get bigger and bigger. Unfortunately, there's no real job security, and your movie role either ends or your show stops filming, or sometimes gets cancelled. Because of this, the highs and lows can be massive, and you can be on the verge of homelessness or living in a mansion depending on luck and talent. It's a very cutthroat business, and it's something Damar just isn't equipped for. Deep down though, he didn't really want this life, but now he's hooked, and thus he sells his soul for anyone who'll give him money. This leads to lawsuits on the products that he endorses, and Damar unfortunately has bills past due. Now I think it provides a lot of commentary not only on Hollywood, but also how the comic book genre has been working in general. There was a point where these films and projects were just a license to print money, and thus Hollywood greenlit everything they could. However, people quickly got bored and moved on to something else because we were tired of seeing the same thing over and over and over. Though people constantly say there's no such thing as superhero fatigue, only bad movie fatigue, I think if we look at the industry in general, then there's clearly way less interest. Films like Superman should have sailed past the number that they did because he's probably the most famous superhero ever. The shows aren't getting the audience that they once did though, and the toy sales aren't anything close to what they used to be. And rest in peace my Funko Pops. So all the characters that got greenlit and came out in this time of overexposure, they kind of got cast to the side, and we've ended up at a point where shows like Wonder Man are just kind of dropped rather than pushed. Seeing this in the middle of the season just blew me away, and I think it kind of sums up a lot of the landscape right now. And hell, superheroes like Superman, they'll always be popular because their powers seem cool. But someone like Doorman, where the power kind of plays into his body being invaded, I don't know how many kids are gonna wish they could grow up and have that power. Even that ability alone plays perfectly off who he is, and in order for his power to work, he has to be vulnerable. There's even the idea that everything passing through him is adding to his loss of self, and we see the actor spiral into a shadow of who he used to be. This also ties into authenticity versus facade and how actors have to take on other identities. Characters like Simon must hide their powers to work, and it parallels how some actors have to hide parts of their private lives to be successful. Everything is just spiraling down though, and it feels like the industry as a whole is just desperate for some solid ground. Marvel even went back to the Russos and Robert Downey Jr. because of all the issues they were having, and again, I don't care what anyone says, Doom was not planned all along, and there was no clues that Doom was going to be the big bad this whole time. Everything was pointing to Kang, and they changed it at the last minute. But yeah, at the moment, Marvel do kind of seem like they're just kicking the can down the road and staying afloat for as long as they can. And that's kind of reflected in the Doorman, where they say, like, your next paycheck is your only paycheck. I fucked up the quote, but you know what I mean. So Damar is desperate for a comeback, and a miracle happens when Gad pitches Cash Grab 2. Seems like it's his way out this slump, but as we've said, just kicking the can down the road. Hungover and half cut, Gad ends up attempting to jump through him in a stunt, but the actor never emerges from the other side. Gad is lost forever in a dimensional void, which is a shame, a real shame, mate, because I love Beauty and the Beast. But yeah, this obviously isn't good, and the Department of Damage Control intervenes and creates the Doorman clause. Due to the insurance you need on a film set, it basically bans all superpowered individuals from film and television. So Tom Cruise, your career is over. The episode then bookends with Simon Williams on set of a project, watching the news coverage of the clause on his phone. He rises and then walks out, and we're left wondering how long he can keep his secret. It's at this point that we finally get the title card and fully understand how this all plays into the narrative. I love the way it all perfectly comes together, and it's a brutal bottle episode that perfectly builds into the bigger picture. At its heart, Doorman is the quintessential example of the perils and exploitation that exists within the movie business. Damar begins content and a man who's happy living a mundane life. People see this as being strange though and want to push him to realise he's undervaluing his opportunities. But honestly, I think he would have been quite content just living with his dog and meeting people from the line. His boss's push for more though mirrors societal pressures to climb ladders, but ultimately this always leads to a fall. Damar's commodified for profit, and it just turns his life-saving ability into a gimmick. This critiques the entertainment industry's treatment of talent, where individuals are elevated only to be discarded when they're no longer useful. All in all, Hollywood doesn't reflect on the way it works, and instead it just identifies people as a problem and then pushes out those it doesn't need. Plus, there's the fact it echoes historical bans throughout history that positions the other as liabilities. You can look throughout the industry's long and rich past and see how they've created blacklists rather than asking why these issues are happening. Gad ends up blacklisted, well, in a way, in a black void for what he's done, but no one else really pays for trying to exploit Damar. Fuck you, Mario Lopez! Damar's mess up is brought on by addiction and the fact that the opportunities dry up after he's been exploited. It's a very tragic tale and perfectly mirrors the loneliness that Simon feels when we join him on the set. It's the first part of the episode that's also shown in colour, and it's at this point that he's hit with indecision. Before, everything was black and white, but now he's faced with several choices. The silent exit symbolises Simon's internal conflict and how his true self could threaten his dreams. Doorman to me achieves perfection through its bold adaptation of an obscure comic character that takes him to the next level. In Marvel Comics, he was first introduced in West Coast Avengers 46 and ended up becoming a joke, much like what we see in the show. However, here they've taken him on an arc that's reframed him into a poignant figure. To me, it shows the capabilities of the MCU and how they can often get deep-cut emotional beats out of seemingly irrelevant figures. But in the irrelevancy, they've found meta-commentary that not only talks about the character, but the industry in general. Through Damar's journey from obscurity to infamy, it analyses fame's illusions, Hollywood's hypocrisies, and the burdens that could come with superpowers. We end with Simon walking away to his own door, pondering what ones will open and what ones will lead to dark, unfulfilling voids. Overall, it's the perfect way to close things out, and I hope you've enjoyed us going through the episode. Love to hear your thoughts as well. Please drop a like and drop a comment with your thoughts on the season. Sorry we haven't had time to cover the whole thing. I did want to do a big breakdown, but unfortunately we got Fallout very, very late. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I'm having to read through the book through that and analyse loads of stuff. They're taking a lot of time to do, I'm sure you can see by the video length, and unfortunately we just didn't have time to work through 8 episodes of a show on top of that. So I apologise. I really wanted to make it up to you guys. We're really sorry we couldn't do it, but I thought this was a perfect episode to talk about, and I hope you've enjoyed us going through it and kind of analysing the deeper themes on it. But yeah, we're going to try and do a big spoiler review on the season itself, so keep an eye out for that. And if you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, then make sure that you check us out at Heavy Spoilers on Instagram. Did you know as well that members of the channel also get early access to videos like this every single week? And if you click the join button, you get at least one breakdown a week before anyone else. Just 99 cents. Hopefully, you know, if you guys want to chip into these videos, that won't be a lot to you, and it will really mean a lot to us. And thank you to everyone who does it. I have the same spiel every time when I try to make it different, always make it worse. Apologies. But yeah, if you want to support us and pick up some of our merch as well, then we've got a great X-Men inspired t-shirt on screen right now that I think you guys are going to love, and we've got a discount on it too, so head over there as well. If not though, thank you for watching through this video. I've been your host Paul, you've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.